Well, good evening, everybody, and I'm frightfully excited to be here tonight to welcome you to our Advocacy Awards. I am so excited to be chair because really tonight we have something for everybody. What we do here tonight has a profound impact actually on the health and the welfare and the impact for so many individuals and actually our entire community. We all may be here for very different reasons, frightfully different reasons. Some of you are either in the military now, some of you are actually formerly in the military, and some of you have been or are right now doing the heavy lifting of being caregivers. There are hardships that are associated with that because it's very difficult to maintain a fulfilling life. And some of you are here because you're committed to helping people and children with terrible disabilities, and disabilities are very, very difficult to live with. And some of you receive care, and some of you know the attention that is due, even if you're a caregiver for those children as well. You may have also been here because you're a partner of Easterseals. You may be here learning about us tonight for the first time. Or some of you might have just come in to have a very delicious dinner, I don't know. But Chef Irvine is going to give us a wonderful dinner. And by the way, while I'm saying that, yes, do give him a round of applause for the delicious food. And while I'm speaking, do feel free to continue to eat and have your dinner. But whatever your reason may be joining us tonight, for whatever reason you've come for, I'm going to promise you one thing. You're going to leave here, at least I sincerely hope, with a far greater passion for Easterseals and for everything that we do. Thank you. Whenever we have our board meetings, I always say, let's share why we are here. What moves us? What's in our hearts? So I'd like to share with you today and tonight the very many reasons that I'm here. There are a number of reasons. I had two great uncles that fought and served and died at the Battle of the Somme. They were blown to bits, like many of the best and the brightest of the British boys and the Allied boys. I also had a great uncle who served in the British Special Forces, the SAS, in World War II. Today is VE Day. Woohoo! So VE Day, marking the victory in Europe today. So I think it's quite apt that we're all here tonight. There are some, though, that aren't with us tonight, like my two great uncles. And you know what? There's nothing you can do for them or anybody else who's been killed in the field of battle. But there are some people you can do something for. There are many families who are fighting still. They're dealing with challenges. They're dealing with all the problems that they have. Battles every day, who have been injured, who will never lead a normal life like many of you are blessed to live this evening. They're fighting. They're fighting for a meaning in life. They're fighting for employment as well. I love what we do in terms of our veteran staffing network, getting them back into the business world. They're fighting addictions, and you know what? They're feeling an irrelevance that maybe none of you feel. And they have to try and get into the civilian world, and that is tough. The tradition that we have at Easterseals is to help them transition back into the business world. Give them that vitality, give them back a life, give them back a purpose. So, through our veteran staffing network that I just mentioned, we have the Cohen Clinic as well, and we provide them with services that allow them to then lead productive and contributing lives. So they can be more like you, more like us tonight, and they can lead a life that is being a member of our society. I'm here for them, and I hope you're here for them as well. I'm actually here for another personal reason. I'm here for my mummy. My mummy had a terrible stroke, and after that, this vibrant woman, I get it from her, she needed it to be institutionalized. She was never the same. And my mummy needed stimulation. Easterseals didn't exist in Pinehurst, North Carolina. I couldn't be with her all the time. She needed the engagement. She needed the engagement that Easterseals provides. There was no Easterseals in Pinehurst, North Carolina. If she'd had more stimulation, I think Mummy might have been here still with us, but she's not. Mummy was my role model. She was always volunteering when I was a child, working and volunteering, and her actions became an example for me. I still remember a very rainy day, classically in England, I know you're thinking, and I was going on my bicycle and I wanted a ride to school instead, and I wanted Mummy to give me a ride. And I can picture her at the end of the driveway, leaning out of the car. She wouldn't give me a ride, and she said, "Darling, remember the elderly." And I can assure you, I at that point did not care about the elderly. But Mummy was right, as usual, because you know what? Mummy was thinking of others that were far more needy than me that day. And that's what she's given me. I'm here because I think of those that are more needy. But I'm also here for another personal reason. My connection with Robin Portman. I worked with and for the wonderful, wonderful Robin Portman. Not only served as one of the most brilliant executives I've ever worked with and for, but she continues to serve. She has the hugest heart. Trust me, I know. I worked with and for her. And she's committed to individuals. She's committed to the souls of individuals and human beings, and she continues to give to this very day. She and Tom are incredible people. Thank you. I'm also here for PenFed. I have worked with and also James Schenk, and I want to say something. When I travel around the nation, and I've been training people for PenFed, when somebody picks me up from the airport, and I always do that versus a taxi or an Uber driver, and I ask them, I get them chatting, 15, 20 minutes, I get them all warmed up, so they're all loosey-goosey, I'm talking about their families and everything, and I asked every single one of them, why are you here, and what do you think of PenFed? What do you think of working for PenFed? Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, every single one of them across the nation where I trained said, James Schenk, he comes out here, he comes to our offices, he does town halls, he's an incredible individual, and he also gives so much of his time for the military and to our veterans. James Schenk. The PenFed Foundation, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm also here for General C. Hugh Brown, Jr., and his lovely wife, who I've had the pleasure to meet, Mrs. Charlene Brown. And their commitment to the military is only matched by their advocacy, also on top of all they do for the military, for their commitment to those with disabilities. Their son was served by Easterseals, and they have lived a life, and they've experienced what Easterseals does. That's why they're here tonight. And they lead, in my opinion, and I hope you think too, a brilliant example of the intersection between Easterseals, our services for the military, and everybody with disabilities. Lastly, and I promise this is the end. Lastly, I do stand before you today because I believe in everything Easterseals does. At our board meetings, there are those that will lament, oh, you know, we do this and we do that, and we do so many things, so many services for so many different people. Some people say, well, might we just focus on the elderly? And some people say, well, might we just focus just on the military? Or maybe we should just focus on our seniors, or might we just focus on daycare, or maybe we just focus on our employment support, or just about mental health. And I say, no, don't worry. This is a great problem to have. It isn't a one thing. It isn't one thing Easterseals does. It's an and. It's all that we do. And let me tell you something. We must address everything because they are holistic services. There are veterans that are handicapped. There are veterans with disabilities. There are veterans that have needs. And there are children that do. And there's Little Warriors, part of our Little Warriors program, who are the children of those military leaders. So our programs necessitate that we are multifaceted. And I hope you understand that from our presentation tonight. I welcome messaging challenges as a BD lady. It's a marketing problem worth having. Why? Because all the things we do are all worthy of your support. That's why I want to also thank our sponsors who've already enabled us to raise, are you ready, $800,000 to support, yes,